I did it again. I did it again. I really need is someone in here to help me run all this tech. Actually, what I need is someone like who's going to join us today. In here to help me press some buttons. I apologize for the no audio. Let me start from the beginning here. I'm your host, Phil Ayers. I voice the character of Zach Kids Devotionals. I'm thrilled to host this online week of giving event. And this whole week, we're going to go live every single day at noon, at Eastern Standard Time, noon, to share our passion to reach kids, teens, and parents with the life-changing message of the gospel. By going to keysforkids.org/weekofgiving, or you can go to the Keys for Kids YouTube channel. It's easy to find. Just search Keys for Kids on YouTube and you'll find it. Make sure if you go there, by the way, to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date. Now today, we're going to watch a video that was produced by Dylan Kryenbrink. He is the program director of Keys for Kids Radio, and he's going to share a bunch of great things happening at Keys for Kids Radio, and you're going to get a chance to learn all about it. Plus, after that, he and I are going to go. But first, I want to say thank you to some of our I want to say thank you to all of our generous sponsors. Let me put those sponsors up on the screen for you. Let's say thank you to Freedom Early Learning Center. And let's say thank you to Budget Blinds and Franklin Halwerda. That's Franklin Halwerda Company. We want to say thank you to you guys. Thanks for your generosity. We want to say thank you to Culver Group, Legacy Capital Planning, Money for Ministry, Garrett's Appliance, Holland Litho, Pinnacle Construction Group, Carpet Bonanza, that's a flooring center, that makes sense, Steel 21, and Eclarion. These are all of our generous sponsors, and they've provided $15,000 of matching gifts. $15,000 of matching gifts, which means that when your gift is given, they are going to match it dollar for dollar. Okay, they'll match that gift dollar for dollar. So you give 10, they'll give 10. That means it's $20. Now, later I'm going to give you an update on exactly where we are with our giving and how far we've come and how far we have to go. But first, let's watch this video by Dylan. He's the program director of Keys for Kids Radio, and he's going to share with you how you can be a part of the Keys for Kids Radio team.
Listeners turn to our music and our stories more than ever. Susan. Keys for Kids Radio has always been a companion for kids. And during the coronavirus pandemic, our listeners turned to our music and our stories more than ever. Susan wrote to us and said, "Thank you so much for the COVID-related themes you've been addressing on the show this week. This week's messages have been especially encouraging us to remember we are not the only ones going through challenges right now, and that Jesus will help us through whatever we may be facing. Thank you so much for being a blessing during this strange time." In times of need, kids want to hear from people that they trust, like their parents and their teachers, as well as from the hosts and the characters that they hear on Keys for Kids Radio every day. Now, the cool thing is, just before the pandemic hit, the total amount of time our listeners spent listening to Keys for Kids Radio, so if you listen for an hour and I listen for an hour, that is 2 hours. If 35 people listen for 100 hours altogether, that's 3,500 hours. So, let me get my paper here. Just before the pandemic hit, all of our combined listeners tuned in for an average of 25,000 hours per month, which is great, amazing. But during 2020, that average rose to 35,000 hours per month, 10,000 hours. That's like nearly a 50% increase. And in February 2021, our audience listened to Keys for Kids Radio for a total of 84,000 hours. That is more than 3 times the average of just a year before that. So that is an incredible amount of time that our listeners have spent with us, which I'm so grateful for. Now, parents love putting on Keys for Kids radio for their kids because it's something that they don't have to hover over and worry about what their kids are going to listen to on Keys for Kids radio. We want Keys for Kids radio to be a safe place online where kids can go to learn about Jesus, and parents can rest assured that it's going to be biblical. Kids love Keys for Kids radio because the stories and the songs put them in a good mood, that they can go to worship God there with the songs, and that the stories teach them that God loves them and that they're special to Him. Now, all of this is because of your support. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't be there for the kids to comfort them, to be a source of peace during a troubled time, for some place to go when they're scared and afraid. We're here for kids because you're here for us. And I am so grateful for that because it allows us the chance to point kids to Jesus Christ, which more now than ever is so necessary. Now, here's the cool thing. Just $5 a month helps us reach over 100 kids in 1 year. Like, how else could you invest your money to help over 100 kids hear the gospel? Plus, that $5 a month enters your family into the Superhero Club, which is a special online club that I've created with Keys for Kids Radio to send you monthly downloads like the pond coloring pages, activity pages from the Keys for Kids devotional, and where you can get audio downloads of Red Rock Mysteries, Down Gilead Lane, and even more. All of those activities are there to help you reach your kids for Christ. Now, if you really want to go above and beyond, $20 a month helps us reach over 500 kids in a year. In addition to putting you in the Superhero Club, that $20 a month also makes you a day sponsor. Now, we've calculated it out. Approximately $240 is what it costs to run Keys for Kids Radio for 1 day. So by you providing that $240 in a year through the $20 a month, that allows you to be a day sponsor. And that means you can have your own personal message on Keys for Kids Radio 12 times a day. I was going to try to do 12 times with my hands, but I don't have enough fingers. I'd have to take off a shoe, and I don't want to take off my shoe. So this personal message that you can put on Keys for Kids Radio, think about it. You can sponsor your child's birthday and say, happy birthday. You can sponsor your anniversary, and that's a way to show love to your spouse in kind of a unique way as an example to your kids. When they listen to Keys for Kids Radio on your anniversary date, they'll hear your message of love to your spouse, and what a role model that would be for them. Or maybe you're a grandparent and you want to celebrate a special occasion in your child's life, like maybe your grandchild is graduating from kindergarten or moving into middle school, and being a day sponsor on a special day like that is a way to commemorate them, to congratulate them, to look back and see how much God has grown them through the last few years and help push them forward to following Jesus through the next few years. Now, whether you give a monthly gift or a one-time gift of any amount, we are grateful for you because each one of those gifts helps us ignite a passion for Christ in kids and their families worldwide. And this is a world that desperately needs Jesus more than ever. So I want to encourage you, would you consider becoming a monthly giver? Go to keysforkids.net/donate.
One
There you
day. One. I am so sorry.
You caught me right in the middle of scratching my head when you came out of that video too. It was like, how embarrassing is that?
Listen, this is so embarrassing, but it's live video, and I just want people to know that. And I'm trying to run it all here, and I just cannot remember to unmute my mic. But Dylan, thank you so much. That was a great video, by the way. And I do want to say thank you for keeping your shoes on.
Yeah. At least I was alone in the studio then. So if I did take my shoes off, only I would suffer.
We appreciate it. Wow. Hey, let's talk about something for a second. That's a lot of extra hours. Like, you went from what? You said an average of 25,000 to 35,000?
Yep. That's just the average. I mean, some months were higher, some months were lower, but no, that was a pretty significant increase for 2020.
That's incredible considering now, obviously, because of coronavirus and everybody being sort of locked down, kids were needing something to do, and parents were turning to Keys for Kids Radio to give their kids something to do, something to listen to, something positive.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the cool things that we did when the coronavirus still first hit, March and April, we started putting out these activity packets. If you get the Keys for Kids devotional, there's activity pages throughout there. So we went back in time, pulled out some of those old activity pages, old coloring pages, and made them like full, 8.5 by 11 printable pages. And we put those together with some Keys for Kids stories. So we ended up with 40 pages of these activity packets that we just made available on our website. And that's something a lot of parents were grateful for, to just be like, do something that's not.
Yes, we need
stepping
help.
on my toes all day.
So, one question that a lot of people have asked me is, so what's the best way to listen to Keys for Kids Radio? So like if I'm a parent out there and I've got young kids, or maybe I want to share this with a grandkid or a niece or a nephew, like what's the best way to listen? On the radio, computer, on your phone?
So we're an internet radio station. So the best way to listen, at least for me, is I listen on my smartphone through the Keys for Kids app. Just look for the blue and white key logo in your app store. The website, keysforkids.net, works really great on mobile, on tablet, and on a computer, of course, too. But maybe one of the best ways to listen to Keys for Kids Radio is through smart speakers like Google Home or Alexa, Amazon Alexa. And I got kind of a funny story about that. So there's so many devices that are connected to Alexa nowadays, right? So we got a smart thermostat a few years ago in our house, and you can connect your smart thermostat. We had an Ecobee to Alexa. So I did that because I thought I'd mess around with it, have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
And I realized, hey, if this is Alexa, like maybe I can play Keys for Kids Radio. So I said, the magic word, please play Keys for Kids Radio. So then my thermostat started playing Keys for Kids Radio, which I think is just wild.
I love that. Well, hey, your thermostat is bringing you the good news of the gospel. So,
I mean, technology these days, right?
I know. Well, anybody out there, if you have an Amazon device, and I like how you said the secret word, because if we say it, it will probably trigger a bunch of people's devices, but, starts with the letter A and ends with Lexa. But anyway, if you ask your device to play Keys for Kids Radio, you're going to get Keys for Kids Radio. So that's a great way to do it. And like you said, on your smartphone, you just go to your app store and search for Keys for Kids, look for the blue logo, and you can listen to Keys for Kids Radio and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because people probably don't realize this, you and I actually get to work together quite a bit. Every single week, we get on the phone, we record the Keys 60s, which are 60-second sort of versions of the Keys for Kids devotional, and you produce the Keys for Kids long reads. We call them the 4.5-minute devotional too. But I don't know a whole lot about what you do as the program director for Keys for Kids Radio. What's your favorite part of being the program director?
That I really like about my job is that I have a lot of freedom to kind of do whatever, which is intimidating, because then I have to find useful, good things that are great to do to help push the ministry forward. But that's a really fun thing. One of the things I've been doing is like creating videos like the one we just saw, but also videos more specifically for kids to enjoy. I play games on the live stream, the Keys for Kids Radio live stream. I do a Bible trivia game every single day that kids can call in for. There's a lot that I can do within the purview of Keys for Kids Radio. One thing that I've been thinking about doing lately, I haven't really mentioned this to hardly anyone, but I'm trying to think about like what would be an interesting way to teach systematic theology to kids, which sounds like kind of a tall order, but I also think it's like pretty needed nowadays, that kids have a firm grounding in like, what does the Bible say about these different things? And, what do Christians believe about that? But just the term systematic theology seems really intimidating. So it's like, how can I turn that into, 1-minute segments or something like that? I don't know.
I love that idea. Well, you know what? Maybe if you're watching right now live and you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, why don't you respond? Let us know what you think of that idea. right? Systematic theology just
And how
means
to
you're
do
going to
it.
study a topic at a time. Like you'll talk about, the Holy Spirit or salvation or sin, those different topics
Mhm.
at a time. Yeah, so maybe suggestion on how to do it and suggestion if you think it's a good idea, if you think your kids would benefit from it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So now I know we've been talking about the gifts, and I'm going to update everybody a little bit later. But as I understand it, Greg Yoder, the president of Keys for
Mhm.
Kids, just popped into your studio there and gave you some updated information about some recent gifts that we've received.
Mhm. Yeah, so Anne sent us a gift of $50 to Keys for Kids Radio. So that was matched through our sponsors that we heard from before. That became a $100 gift. Angela gave $200, so the match made it $400. Carrie, she gave a $5 per month gift, so that actually makes her a part of the superhero club that I mentioned in the video. That becomes $120 over a 1 year period with the match. And she actually during the car ride to school and having quality bedtime stories. So it sounds like they're
Awesome.
using it every day, the Keys for Kids devotional.
Awesome. Well,
Pete,
hey,
he wanted to support Keys for Kids Radio specifically. He's giving $100 with the match in there. That turns it into $200. He also left a comment. We enjoy your Keys for Kids devotionals. We read these with our 2 children. So it sounds like they're using the Keys for Kids devotionals every day as well. Corey, $25. That becomes $50. Lonnie gave $50. That becomes $100. Sue is pledging $50. She's going to be sending us a check. That becomes $100. Adelina gave 25. That means another 25 on top of that for $50 with the match. So yeah,
wow.
a
Well,
lot
hey,
of gifts
thank you.
between us. So we're really grateful.
Thank you to all you that see. I love the power of the matching gift. I mean, you give 100 and it becomes 200. So
Mhm.
that's fantastic. Well, Dylan, I'm sure that you have got a lot of things to do. You've got a lot of things to take care of for Keys for Kids Radio. So I'm going to let you go. But thanks for stopping in and thanks for that great video.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Wow, that's incredible stuff. One thing that stood out to me, I don't know if it stood out to you, is it only takes $240 to run Keys for Kids Radio for a day. That doesn't seem like a whole lot considering the listening hours have almost people watching right now that would say, "Oh, I could cover a day of listening. I could do that." Right? I could do $240 as a part of this Key 1,000 hours of listening time, roughly. A little bit more than 1,000 hours. Your $240, 1 day of Keys for Kids Radio, that's 1,000 listening hours at these averages. And plus, when you do that, you become a day sponsor. We'll help you craft during the day. And like Dylan said, you can celebrate a birthday or an anniversary, an important milestone like a graduation. And that's exciting. And remember, your financial donation, our generous sponsors will donate $242, and that makes it $480 for those of you that are doing math out there. And remember, every donation is help. You can't sponsor a whole day that your donation doesn't count. Every dollar counts, and every dollar will be matched. So, for example, you could be in the Superhero Club for a donation of $5 a month. And that's an important thing to do, and that donation will also be matched. Now, here's what I know. We have $15,000 of matching donations that are available, and so far, we've brought in, I need a drum roll here. I wish I had a drum roll sound effect. I'll talk to Dylan about that. So far, we've received just over $8,000 in donations so far towards that match, okay? That's amazing. So we've received $8,000 of donations from you, and $8,000 will be matched, which means we are more than halfway there. Right? We have 4 days of the week of giving. We're more than halfway there. We have about $7,000 left in match money, and I want to encourage you to consider giving a gift. There's 2 days left in our week of giving. There's today and tomorrow. And we've got about $7,000 to go, and I think we can make that goal. I think we can make that goal early. Maybe today we'll be able to make that rest of that goal, and then tomorrow will just be just extra. And believe me, we need extra. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot to accomplish. And we would love for you to be a part of the week of giving. Now, let me just share how you can give, just so that you know how to take advantage of these matching pledges. There are several ways to give. One of the easiest things that you can do is simply pull out your smartphone and text the word give to the number 616-229-2982. Text the word give to 616-229-2982. Just pretend you're sending the message give to a friend of yours whose phone number is 616-229-2982. Right? That's easy to do. Now, if you're watching on your phone, I would say screenshot this picture right now so you can go back and do it later. If you're watching on your computer, you can do this on your phone. Now, maybe you say, I don't like that. Let me just mail a check. Well, that's great. We love that too. You can send a check to Keys for Kids Ministries, 2060 43rd Street Southeast in Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49508. And we appreciate every gift that is sent to us by check in the mail. And if you'd like to, you can also go online to keysforkids.org. You can go online to keysforkids.org and hit the donate button and give today and be a part of our matching. Well, I want to say thank you for joining us today. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. Tomorrow is our last day of our live streaming for Week of Giving, and tomorrow we're going to hear he's going to share with all of us why it is so critical today, more than ever in recent history. Teens and parents need Jesus. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Keysforkids.org. God bless you guys.